How's it going, guys? Today we're going to talk about required houses and forbidden houses. So let's start with required houses. You know how, for example, Black Eagles can only be made by Korea, or snipers can only be made by Great Britain, or desolators can only be made by Iraq. So we're going to see how they did that, and we're going to learn how to do it ourselves. Let's say you have your own unit, let's say you want to add a special unit just for Great Britain. So if we go to, let's take the Eagles, for example. So Black Eagle. If we go down here, we will see the flag required houses. Required houses alliance. Now, alliance might confuse you a little bit. You're like, wait, what? Alliance? Not Korea? So I did make a list of houses. This is what the houses are called in rules.ini. So if you're going to use anything that has to do with the houses, right, the factions in the rules.ini, they're called houses, but the factions, you can use these. Americans is America, Alliance is Korea, French is France, Germans is Germany, British is Great Britain, Africans is Libya, Arabs is Iraq, Confederation is Cuba, Russians is Russia, and Yuri country is, of course, Yuri. So as you can see, there is a required houses alliance here. Let's see if we can't take this and add it to another unit. So let's take the GI, for example. All right, searching GI isn't going to work. I know it's called, all right, I should have written allied GI. I know it's called E1 here. And let's say I take that, right? So it's E1. I just put it in here, obviously capitalize where it needs to be capitalized. And I paste required houses alliance. Now in theory, none of the allied factions are going to be able to make GIs except Korea. So let's try it out. I'm America at the moment. I'm just going to load in the map here. So, my bad. Let's load in the map. In theory, required houses are now alliance, which means only Korea can make GIs. Let's see what happens when I try to make GIs. So I make a barracks. I go here and no GIs. No GIs. So clearly it worked, but let's just make sure it worked. Let's go Korea this time and make sure that I can make GIs as Korea. So I'm just going to pick Korea here, launch the game again, and let's find out if it worked. So here we go again, barracks, and there we go, GIs can be built. So obviously it worked. That's required houses. You can take any unit, any building, any structure, anything, and just snap a required houses on it. All right. Now there's also something called forbidden houses. So forbidden houses is houses that aren't allowed, factions that aren't allowed to build this unit. So this is making only one faction allowed, and forbidden houses is making factions not allowed to build. I will add one more thing. We can make a list, required houses. So let's say I do it alliance and Americans. All right. So now in theory as America, I should still be able to make GIs. Let's test it out, see if it works. We'll just launch the game here. And hopefully now when I make a barracks, the GIs will again be available to me. So a comma separated list. You can add as many factions as you want. If you add them all, there is no point, obviously, but maybe. Let's get rid of this line for a second. I'll just comment it out like that. And type in forbidden houses. Let me just make sure I spelled that correctly. Yes, okay, so forbidden houses. And let's say that the only one that isn't allowed to make it is, let's say, France. They got those cannons, they don't need GIs, right? So we'll just save this, French, and we'll launch the game as, let's say, as Germany. Make sure we can build GIs. And then we'll launch the game as France, and we'll see that we cannot make GIs anymore. So, in theory, GIs are here. There we go, it worked. Now we're just going to launch the game one more time as France this time and see that GIs have disappeared from the list and I can no longer make allied GIs. So as France now, putting down a barracks, and there we go, the GIs aren't here and I cannot make them. That is required houses and forbidden houses, guys. I hope you had fun, and I'll catch you next time.